Iced coffee. I got my iced water.
Oh my gosh, yay! Iced coffee, iced water. I love it. And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Amber Rose, also known as the Religious Hippie. You can basically follow me on any social media platform, or you can go straight to my website at thereligioushippie.com. And today, I have a special guest with us today. I'm so excited for this. It's going to be such a good discussion. We have Steve Cunningham. He runs Sensus Fidelium. And actually, I believe you started it, right? You started the whole Sensus Fidelium thing.
Yeah, the whole universe. Now it's a press too. So
Oh, wow. That is insane.
I started that 3 weeks ago. So we got 3 books already. I just put up 2 calendars. I got 2 more books coming at the end of the week.
Oh, right. Congratulations. That is amazing. Like, we need more good Catholic bookstore press things, you know?
I just found more time to do something, I guess. I don't know how, and just decide, you know what? I told my wife, what if I start a press?
I mean, if it works, it works. And she was like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Actually, it was one of the only times she said, that's a good idea. So it's like, let me record that. Rewind, record. Let's do that again.
I love that. No, it's perfect. I mean, the first time in like how many years, right?
Well, she was the one that got me to do the website and told me to do the podcast.
You know what? We got good ideas.
Oh, yeah. I didn't want to do it, but she was like, yeah, you should start instead of asking others to do it. So it's kind of like a Thanos mindset in a sense. Instead of asking others, I'll do it myself. So
I have that exact same mindset for a lot of stuff. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, but other times it works out well. So that's awesome. For maybe anyone else, somebody just asked, what kind of books do you guys have on your press right now?
We got 2.
We're getting there.
2, yeah, more on the way. I can tell you what's on the way. Leo the 13th's book on humility, or treatise on humility, and I forgot. Then the first one was the Exorcism of Nikolai Aubrey, which is a really great apologetic story read. It's a historical exorcism that went down in France. There's a public one. That doesn't happen anymore, and it just goes through it. I mean, it shows the Pirate Confession. Obviously, it's the title of it's Triumph of the Blessed Eucharist. It's a fun read. It's not ecumenical at all, though, but it's a fun read.
I love that. I'll have to read that one. Is that the one you sent me, or was that a different one? Yes. Okay. One. Because I think I started that one and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good.
Yeah.
I love good exorcism.
You see all these exorcist movies out. This one could be one. It'd be again, the Baptists and the Protestants won't like us. I mean, there's one part when the Calvinist comes in and goes, he's trying to exorcise him and the demon manifests goes, I wrote those prayers.
Oh my gosh. It's so crazy. And honestly, if Hollywood were to get their hands on it, they probably wouldn't do it justice.
Oh yeah, they mess it up somehow. Yeah.
But I'm sure there'd be like, hopefully someday we'll have like a bigger Catholic community willing to do like better productions with, Catholic movies and stuff, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think there's one coming out on Mother Cabrini. I hear that's good. I haven't seen it, but I've heard good things about it.
I thought there was one about Mother Teresa that came out recently too.
You're right, but I have no idea. I've seen some photos scanning through, but I have no clue.
Yeah, but no, hopefully one day we'll have bigger press as Catholics and we'll have more money to do like good budget films and stuff. But I still go back to the old classics of, like The Song of Bernadette, Bells of St. Mary, all of those. But
yeah, it's hard to beat those. And even the original Fatima one. There's Mary's Dowry in England. They do a lot of, it's low budget. I mean, I think it's lower budget than Blair Witch Project, but it still gets the job done.
Yeah. It's still, as long as we have good Catholic movies that are dogmatically correct coming out, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now it's just finding them. They have no marketing though.
It's so unfortunate because marketing, I mean, I took a class on marketing a couple years ago, and the amount of money it takes to just get an advertisement out there, thousands. Like, it's insane. Like, that has to be a part of the budget when you're making a film. It's crazy.
And that's one thing with the press now is I don't have to worry about too much of marketing. I got into gardening, and there's the guy in California, I forget the name of the channel, but he went from YouTube channel to online store. And there's a video of him, how this guy made a 70 million in gardening, 7 million gardening. It was because he
Wow.
he started, instead of doing affiliates, he built a store. So I told my buddy, I go, this won't be that. We're not going to get the 7 million, but it's the same game plan. We got the marketing in the channel.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Well, hopefully it can grow eventually. I mean, you guys have grown a lot with Sensus Fidelium. And it continues to grow. There are so many people that have a hunger and a need for the kind of videos that you put out.
Yeah, it's always been up. There's been I don't remember there being a hockey stick moment. I remember hitting 100,000. I was doing Uber in Denver. And that was when we hit 100,000. A buddy of mine brought me a bottle of Ardbeg for that. And that was,
as he should.
Yeah, thank you, Trent. That took 7 years to get to. 8 years, yeah.
Wow.
And then from 100,000 to 200, a little bit quicker, probably about 3 years.
Okay.
And it's been a steady stream, but it has, it's been a hockey stick, but not like straight up, but never down.
Right. And I think it's also important because as we start seeing these turns in the church and stuff, people are seeking out tradition more and more these days. And I think Sensus Fidelium is definitely one of those channels that kind of encompasses a bunch of tradition into one channel. And the talks, I mean, you guys have Father Ripperger, homilies on there. You guys have a bunch of different. Do you ever have Father Chris Alar on there too?
I've met him a couple. Well, yeah, kind of met him once or twice, but no, he's got his own stuff. I mean, YouTube doesn't like duplicate videos. They kind of look at that as they poo-poo on that a lot. So a lot of people will send me something. If I don't change the audio up some way, they'll go after me. So I don't even, if there's another one, if it's a duplicate, I don't even touch it.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I definitely think, people are hungry for that traditional type of mindset that your channel offers. And that's kind of like the catalyst into our topic today, which is about the traditional Latin Mass. And, I go to the traditional Latin Mass. We go to the St. John Cantius, which is known as one of the most beautiful churches in the nation. And it's just so beautiful and it needs to be preserved. And we see such an attack on the TLM these days. What's your experience with the TLM? Did you ever go to it when you were younger, or was it more of like something you discovered? Or
yeah, never heard of it. We were at just the regular, typical Sunday Mass service. The only sermon I remember was Father talking about Mike Ditka once, and I think I dressed in cutoff shirts back those days. I mean, we're talking not very good. I mean, Mom dragged us in for adoration in the mornings before school, and we were altar boys, my brother and I, and we just, especially me, I just didn't care, I guess. But yeah, I remember when we both really came in. My brother harder than I did. I went the state route and he went the church route. We changed on. Remember MySpace or was it MySpace?
MySpace, yeah.
People were saying that your brother and you were just trying to make each other laugh, and I said, yeah, that's pretty much it. But then we were both in personal training at the time, and he ended up getting a job with a medical company and introduced me to a friend of mine, now a friend of mine, who needed help. So me getting out of that industry into medical sales when I was an assistant changed my whole mindset of, all right, let me learn about what we're doing here. And I went from pretty much not hardcore commie, but on that side, to wow, everything I was told to in college was a complete lie. And this is this. And here, man, we better not get universal health insurance, or this is going to happen. And we saw the writing on the wall then. And then my brother texted me up to say, hey, there's a men's group meeting or group gathering this Saturday up in St. Paul's in Spartanburg, and we're having a Latin Mass. And I go, okay. I just assumed it's the same thing I've been going to daily, except in Latin. So I looked online, found a Latin Missal, studied it for the weekend, going, all right, I better get ready because you got to say stuff back, and I didn't know anything. And so the first time we were up there, he was like, man, I'm surprised you didn't get lost. I go, wow, I was literally my nose deep in this stuff, trying to not look like an idiot because I wasn't sure who was going to be here and all that. And so I kind of knew where we were at and all this, it was not one of the best missiles, but it worked. And that was in a gym. It was in the gym in St. Paul's. So just imagine yellow plaid, walls,
Oh,
stone, a stage. We were on the 3-point line, and there was about 5 people there, and with the hoops raised up, and going, man, if this looks, it was a low mass. If this looks good, and this, imagine what this looks like in a real church. And so that was my first. And the priest, the altar boy at the time, is now a priest in South Carolina. He's one of the underground trads, and
wow.
Father Ferguson was the celebrant for that. And yeah, it was after that we're like, well, what else? Let me find more. And it was cool to see. It was one of those like ahas. I get this. That was the first time I didn't receive on the hand too. I was not sure how I was gonna do with that. It was one of those like, yeah, I'm not gonna let anybody do that. I can put my hand out myself. And just trying to figure it out 10 minutes to go. Like, how's this gonna work? And
It's like close your eyes, lean back, tongue out.
yep, never went back after that. That made total sense. Felt right. And yeah, the rest is history on that. I just kept finding. I remember a buddy of mine asking, "Hey, midnight mass at Prince of Peace," and I'm living in Columbia, South Carolina. It's a 2-hour drive. Come on up. I go, yeah, I'm going to come up midnight mass, drive at 9 o'clock at night to go, and then come back at 4 or whatever. Thinking, and man, there was a 2-hour mass, and it felt like 10, 15 minutes went by, and it was incredible.
That's amazing. And I think, the auditorium TLM also preaches to how, we preserve the TLM for so many years under persecution. I mean, they used to do that mass in barns, and the low mass came from like that persecution and during the wars where they had to secretly say mass and it had to be quiet. And so people would have it in barns, their houses, it wasn't allowed in churches. And so it almost like kind of speaks to that in a way where it's just like, yeah, but because it's the TLM, it is still so reverent and it's so beautiful. And because of that, you can do it in an auditorium, and it's not as beautiful, but it doesn't lose its beauty as the traditional Latin mass.
Yeah. I mean, the aesthetics around, because I'm one not to use a missal, so I like looking up. And
yeah.
I remember one sermon father said, "I wish people were illiterate. They just, because they get tired of hearing the pages turn." And I'll hear that too. I'm like, stop turning the pages. Are you saying mass back here? Just chill. And but no, it's because of the beauty. Like he's talking about St. John Cassius, going, man, that's good just to look up. You keep looking up and all this. Now St. Anne's here in Charlotte's like that. They father went just all in to put massive statues along the side and got a big mural out there in the back. And that used to be a bland, looked like my gym at first, looked yellow. And there's others, St. Thomas here. It's more darker. They made it. They beautyized it. It was ugly as sin, and they put a baldacchino in and made some other great things. They're adding on more and more. We'll even go to Byzantine, right? So you talk about the sermons. I have Byzantine sermons on the channel, and man, just the liturgy itself. It's in just like you were talking about, like an auditorium. It's in a conference center type deal, but Father and the deacon are just incredible chanters. There's some there that you think the cats are scratching the walls, but these guys are just fantastic. And so yeah, the beauty all in. Then you just imagine if you get if we just had the aesthetics in every part of the globe, how much more we could do for neighborhoods and all. When I was in Spartanburg after this, I did a St. Paul's street team. Still am kind of. It's just changed the focus of what I'm trying to do with it. And we were trying to bring people. I was telling her, but how do we get people to go to the mass? I'm going, this parish right here we grew up in, and I had to beg Father to bless the things. Going, why do they need to convert? Just bless them, please. And the other one in town is singing happy birthday at the end of mass. We can't bring them any of these. How do I tell them, you know what you need to do? You need to drive 40 minutes that way. Find this place called Prince of Peace, and trust me, you'll be fine. And even he's the Unicorn Mass in South Carolina. He does Unicorn Nova Sordo, and he does a TLM every day of the week.
Wow.
He was the first. He actually does pre-55. He did pre-55 before it was cool. So that's another thing, just getting into the tradition of the tradition.
No, it's so beautiful. And I also have gone to the Byzantine rite of the liturgy, and I have been blown away by the how articulate they are in their homilies and how fired up they can be because they walk around and they are like talking and it's very straight to the point, and it's not like necessarily brimstone and fire, but it's definitely like not sugarcoating anything like we see so often these days, which can be so exhausting. And I remember when I was taking some of my friends to the traditional Latin mass for the first time, I was just like, please don't say anything in your homily that'll turn them off. Please, please, please. Because, at the TLM, they're technically going to be more, you know, not touchy feely. And, when I was a baby Catholic and I was bringing my friends in, I was so afraid of that, them being turned off by that. But in reality, it actually drew them in more, and actually 3 of them converted, 2 years ago, and they just loved the honesty, and I think that's something that we really lack in a lot of Novus Ordo parishes, not all of them. I've been to quite a few, who do it ad orientem and in Latin, which is really great, and their homilies are really good, but, I mean, that's not the majority, though, and we know that, and so that's something that I noticed is people are hungry for that. They want to be told that what they're doing is wrong and here's why. And like, God loves you, but like, you have to repent. And, Cantius, the priests there have touched on everything from like abortion to communism to just everything. And it's fantastic because we need more of that. And the church is always packed. There's never an empty seat in that church.
I remember Father Buckley was in town this years ago, and my brother invited a bunch of his friends from CrossFit in. So they were not all non-Catholics. There's probably 30 people, I think, at this mass.
Wow.
Probably, I would say 14 of them weren't Catholic. And Father gets up and just does the St. Francis of Sales controversy sermon. And I'm just sitting there going, we're both serving mass and going, this, try not to smile. They're like, oh, dude.
Oh, no.
So yeah, the hard hitting stuff. I love it. Was great to see. I still see it every so often. I mean, one time, Father, he's the VG now in the Diocese of Charlotte. He did Monsignor. What's his name? Calf. No, Calf runs the seminary.
Okay.
Winslow.
Winslow.
He's doing a first homily for a friend of ours who got ordained in Spartanburg, and somebody walks out after 3 minutes because he was just going to town and going. I asked him afterwards at the party. He sat down, grabbed it with a beer or something, or wine, and goes, it's a good sermon when you get somebody to walk out in the first 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I also think it's like great conversation starters because people are just like, oh, interesting. And I don't think people are used to feeling that conviction, and that's why they walk out, but planting the seed is so important.
Even the Holy Father situation, I look at that as a plus going, hey, that's a good conversation starter. I got a photo when we did the street team. It was a festival in Spartanburg, and I got a stand up of Francis there because I'm like, let me fish him in. And man, everybody and their brother was in there trying to take selfies with him and all that. And they gave him a rosary. They walked away with a rosary, blessed medals. We talked, people talked left and right. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just all about how you use it. Yeah, it stinks, kind of like the idea of embrace the suck, but what do you do with it? You complain about it, or you can use it to your advantage and try to use anything to your advantage any way you can.
Right. And I think it was St. Therese of Lisieux who said, the earth, this world is our ship, not our home. And it's really important that we don't jump overboard, because jumping overboard, that guarantees like death in spiritually or physically, I guess, in some ways. And because then we abuse our bodies and we like go overboard with sin and things because we're not in the church having the sacraments. And I think it's really important that we keep that mindset that no matter what's going on in the church and the world today, we still have a duty and we still have to obey God because we have a duty to him and his church. And I think this is a time of, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is a time of purging in the church where it's really trying to get rid of like separating the weeds from the wheat and really trying to create a stronger Catholic community through all these hardships. And so many people left during COVID, and then so many people came back, and so many people converted during COVID and are so strong in their faith. And so I think in a way it's, there's this purging of lukewarm Catholics in the church, and it's only really making us stronger, even though it doesn't seem like the numbers are there. We're there, and that's not to say we can't discount what's going on in the world right now, because there's a lot of evil going on, and there's a lot of weakness, and that's just the way that things are. But we also have to remember that the world has never really been a peaceful place. I mean, Christians have been persecuted forever. So, it's nothing new, but I think because the news outlets are constantly pushing it in our faces, there's like articles out there telling us like, oh, Pope Francis said this and that happened here and the synod's doing that. And it's like, it's exhausting. And at the end of the day, I tell people, I'm like, focus on your own relationship with God, stay close to the church, the sacraments, go to confession, focus on yourself, because none of this other stuff matters. Like, it's not going to impact your salvation unless you let it get to you and you decide to leave the church because of it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can't argue that at all. I mean, it's excuses. I mean, you put a gun in my head right now and ask me about the Synod, I'd tell you just pull the trigger. I couldn't tell you one thing that has gone on with the Synod. But
Same.
Like today, there's one of the saints and butlers is the King of Denmark. And you know about the Bluetooth logo? He's
No, I don't.
the Bluetooth logo. You know, that little line with his surname was Bluetooth. And I told
That's so funny.
Veronica. Yeah, there's a story of Veronica, and who's it? Eusebius talks about that the woman with blood issues was Veronica. And I told this to a buddy of mine when I heard a sermon from 2 years ago. I'm going, sent chills down. I'm going, how come I never heard this? And I told him that. He goes, well, thank you. I won't tell the group for telling me every sin that the Holy Father has ever done. But yeah, never, ever, 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 ever touching on something like this. I'm going, yeah, how many people don't know little gold nuggets like that? I mean, that was just a really cool story. And then trying to find that how the woman at the well became a martyr. Her entire family became a martyr for the church. And she's in the Roman martyrology. And,
really?
Yeah, Photius.
Why are we talking about this?
Because it's not sexy. It's people want to talk about the drama. Trans just especially. They were just as bad at it. We want the drama. The videos online, look at all of them. The clicks are going to be Pope related, Synod related. I guarantee if I put a sermon, sermon earlier today on, I can't remember what it was, prayer or piety or some sort, you get 1,000 or 2,000 views. But if I put, hey, the Pope sucks, here's why, I'll get 100,000 in an hour, probably even more.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but it's our minds. It's human nature. It's our mindset. It's just one of those things we gotta focus on trying to avoid, in a sense. I like reading the Eastern, the Byzantine saints and the stories like Climacus. I got his icon up there, and Cassian, and I've been turned on with during the Rona. Was it during the Rona? Yeah, not Rona. During the TC, when the Pre-55 was kicked out, we had it all through here. And we were going, well, what are we going to do for Holy Week? I thought about taking the family up to Virginia to on a road trip because the fraternity parish up there, we don't have it. It's just diocese here. But the diocese mentality is they want to get the old mass back in every parish. So, hey, that's good. We have actually trans that don't like that idea. I don't know why. So we went Byzantine because Father comes up and goes, we're more trad than the trad. We're 4th century ago. Well, that makes sense. And so that led me into finding guys like Father David Abernathy, and he's doing all these, in-depth readings of Climacus and Cassian. One of the things he mentioned about the liturgy was maybe this is a time when we're, God's kind of throwing water on our face. We had it good. We're just sitting there chilling out for a second, not really pushing it because only a few trad parishes really grow. There's not really much evangelizing, if any. There was a priest down in South Carolina that I thought had the greatest plan. Terrible liturgy, terrible looking church, great plan. It was bad. He had the banjos up front. Hey, it's the start. I call it the starting lineup. Welcome to St. Francis Catholic Church. Your lineup. Here's Susie. She has curls. Here, if at altar girl, who's at priest, he's been around here for 25 years. You know him. Father Smiles. And it's just one of the, hey, shake your hand to the next person. There was a lady with a veil in there. I almost went, how'd you get here? Guy in front of me has got his arm up in a golf shirt, ready to go play. And then, because he invited me down he wanted me to pitch an idea to him. And so he said a private mass, and he's looking out. I'm sitting right there. He's looking out. I'm going, I'm nobody else here. And then he asked me to come up and read the reading, which was weird. I'd never done that before. And I'm looking at the door. Just, but he had this idea of getting everybody in his parish to bring people in and using these methods of trying to bring in like fish fries, tickets, this ticket. He had he had a war map out. Everything was highlighted. This family was this section of the road, this section of the road, and have Q&As on how to be Catholic. He put full page ads in the newspapers, things like that. I told him, he offered me like, what was it, $3,500 or something like that to do something for the youth. I go, Father, take that and build a good church with it or something.
Make it pretty.
You want to put me on salary. So take that and just do something better for this place. It's ugly. You got Baptists, you got a couple of Protestants down the road, you got the Muslims right there. This looks like anything else. But he had a great plan. I'm convinced if every trad parish did that, they blow the doors off their neighborhoods, especially. I mean, it's the ladies got to get involved in this. Can't just be you got to go fishermen for the priest to educate. I remember one priest talked about that for confirmation. He gave one sole challenge. Go out there and get one, and we'll figure out how to put a program together. But you bring that one into us, and we'll educate them. We'll work on it for you.
Wow.
It's more like, hey, we complain, but we tell our neighbors, you talk about persecution. Go out to the street. Go out in your street and invite your neighbors in. See how they like you for the rest of the week or something. And just keep pounding at that. But
yeah,
it's a different mindset. It's take the focus off the garbage and focus on, because it just brings you down. You'll start looking for it. You'll start wanting that garbage, and the beauty will even look bad. You're going to a mass and you're thinking about the synod, and you're thinking about the bad things. Where you got to be able to detach. I can't remember what the saint said that he walks into church and is like, I'm leaving all the day's problems at the door. And then you walk in, because who cares? You go to a trad mass, you go to a Noah's Order mass, if your mind is all wacky and you're dressed to the nines, but your insides is garbage, you're not going to get much out of that. You're not doing yourself a favor.
And I think that's so difficult, especially in today's society that's so saturated with negativity that we're just drawn to it. And so even at mass, like, we'll judge people for being there. And I don't know if you saw this thing going around on Twitter about the hoodie guy, but there was like this person.
I made a comment of it.
Did you? Oh my gosh. Okay. So for those who don't know, somebody, I don't remember her name. She blocked me now, but I don't remember what I said. Or I don't think I even said anything directly to her. I just said, like, I made a tweet basically saying when I first came back into the church, I was very judgmental of people, how they acted, what they wore at mass, etc. But then as I grew, I would start telling God, I'm like, hey, I don't know what this person needs, but you do. I'm just glad they're here. And that really helped me change my focus. I didn't tag her or anything, but I think she took that as a personal hit, so she blocked me. Anyway. But basically, there was this man who wore a hoodie to low mass. And this girl claimed that she was taking a video for the choir during mass, which I was like, well, why is your phone out filming the choir? Which she said was a bad idea anyways, but I was like, whatever. Anyways, but then she screenshotted the video she took, and there was a man in front of her wearing a hoodie, and she posted it saying something along the lines of like try and not wear these things to mass or whatever, dress up better for mass. And it just like blew up because it's like, you don't know that man's story. You know, maybe he just came from work. He had no other clothes. Like, we can't just judge people based off of it. But that's the thing. With access to things like Twitter or X and stuff like that, we instantly see something negative and we're like, oh, we need to post it. Like, we need to talk about it. And Steve, I don't know if you know Charles D. Fron. He wrote the book Swords and Shadows and Slaying Dragons. He said specifically that there is a demon of like social media that wants us to tweet about everything and anything. And there's this, you get this want and this need to tell people about every little thing going on in your life. And plus, like, especially today, everyone and their grandma has social media. So, well, maybe not their grandma. Maybe their cat. Their cat definitely has social media. But I just noticed that like everybody has this need to tweet the most unimportant things because people want attention for it. I'm guilty of this. Okay. I'm not perfect. I'm not. But I noticed it more, and I'm becoming more self-aware of it for myself as well. But it's just something where I'm like, we will focus on the negativity because most of what we see on social media is negativity. At least that's what gets traction. Like you said, like if you post not a bad video, but a negative video, it's going to get so many more views and likes than if you posted a video on prayer. And I've noticed that too. If there's like something dramatic going on and I make a video about it, so many more likes and views. And it's almost difficult for us content creators because we see that and then we want to feed into it because we get more, I wouldn't say recognition, but more views for it. So then it just feeds the cycle. And we just have to be more aware of that and understand that negativity is not from God, you know?
No, yeah, no, and they know it. The content, the creators know exactly that if they post a prayer thing, they're not going to get the views. But if they post this up, they will. Yeah, I don't know if it's a demon or not, but it's just human. It's what it's built for. X, Twitter, whatever is built for, butting heads. I mean, 120 characters, whatever. You put something out, you run. It's not face to face. There's no human interaction. It's just, and you can say, hey, you're an idiot or you're a scumbag or cuss at each other, just trash each other online, just beyond belief. Somebody,
and there's no consequences.
I'm sorry?
And there's no consequences.
Oh, no. There was a guy on Matt Fradd's show about a month or two ago. He talked about he had to leave social media because he was fearing he was going to go to hell over it. I go, dude, I get what you mean. I mean,
yeah.
My personal page, I use that for when I do the news shows because I don't have many followers. So I just retweet so I can have it ready so I can right click and get over. My Sensus Fidelium one, I put all the things, the liturgical stuff on there, and you look, there's one or two clicks. No one, Garange, forget about it. Hey, that guy, that priest that they just knocked down in some city on the other side of the globe. I don't like that guy, and it's not going to affect me one bit of my life, but I got to be mad, and I got to tweet about it and tell everyone about it. Enoch, you got to write a song about it. Sorry, Enoch, I had to throw him out there.
We love Enoch.
But yeah, no, Fawaz. But no, it's just one of those human nature. We gotta be first. Look at the news. I gotta be able to tweet out this first. I don't care if it's right or wrong, but I'm first. And then I can tell everybody I'm first. And then when I get corrected, I just tell everyone that they're wrong and things like that. It's garbage out. It's garbage in, garbage out. But yeah, you got to be able to detach from all that and be able to stop looking almost. I mean, yeah, I put the news up so I can, in 1 week, I'll focus on all the news in a week. And people say, hey, I can't believe people like it. And try to shorten it out. Here's the link. Here's the proof. Here's the evidence. And I could blackpill anybody to the best of them, probably. And they go, how do you smile? I go, well, look around. Look at like those guys, the Carthusian martyrs. The guy had his heart cut out, put it in front of his face, and he's smiling. On top of it says, walking joyfully. And you're not supposed to be happy down where you hear that Bernadette, not made happy this world, but in the next. We're not made of this world. You brought that up earlier with Therese. You start reading the spirituality and things like that. I mean, who was it? Was it Climacus or Chrysostom that said, if you want to live like, you want to be happy, save like the few, live like the few. And
I think it was
most of us want to live. You mentioned the hoodie guy.
Yeah.
So I was an usher back in Denver, fraternity parish there, and I loved it because I was that guy. If someone, hey, you want a seat? Hey, move in. Scooter, act like you know each other. Move in. There's a gap like this in the middle. One here, one here. Move your butts in. These people are sitting down. This one lady comes in and says, "What is wrong with it? I thought this was a trad parish. What's wrong?" She doesn't have a veil on. Hold this right here. I got to go to the car. She goes, what's in the car? I got a 9mm coming. I'm going to blow her head off. Her husband was crying, laughing because the whole thing. She's, what are you in here for? You looking at other people, or is it about, getting you better? I mean, I get it. Should you veil? Yes. But is it, you going to hell over that? No. So like the hoodie guy, we were at mass one time and this couple comes in late and she has like a spaghetti, I guess, dress on and, back showing. And they ended up sitting about 4 pews up, which, hey, you come in right up there. You get up to the front. That was brand, just doesn't happen a lot. But they ended up staying probably 20, 30 minutes after giving a good Thanksgiving. Well, it looks like they were. And sticking around a little bit while. And I was trying not to think how many of our guys were going outside early to yell about them.
Mm-hmm.
And Father Rip has talked about that with moral theology, sense of like in one of the videos he mentions like if you see like a big black dude grabbing a purse from a little white lady, well, how do you know that's not his purse? His wife asked him to hold it. And so it's practice, just like Alphonsus talks about a uniformity of God's will, about not caring about the weather. I mean, caring
Yeah.
about it, but not complaining about it. Like God wants it hot, I want it hot. There's a story of a monk that does that. And he's producing all these miracles, and he's just united to God's will so much that when they were raided, he didn't complain. It's like, I saw that as God's will. Job, in a sense. And so that good practice for daily time. If someone's flying by, you cut you off, I'll tell the wife. She goes, I can't believe that guy. I go, well, if he's got to go to the hospital.
Mm.
And he may
It's always
not,
like,
but yeah. So that gets you like maybe there's something like the hoodie guy. I mean, I went to mass one time in shorts at Fraternity Parish because I was doing the St. Paul Street team in the middle of Denver at the city fair. And it was 99 degrees out there, and I wasn't sure if my tent was going to work. And it gets hot out there,
oh
and it's
yeah.
out, And I'd say it. The next time I changed up, I did wear slacks, which was cooler actually. But still, what if someone come up and started complaining about me? I could have just said, "Hey man, what are you doing the rest of the day? You'd be in the
Yeah.
air conditioned room. I'm gonna be out here. Come help me out. Then you can yell at me."
Right.
But yeah, this is one of those things we start to, instead of worrying about the man in the mirror, we're focused on all these other people just to maybe make us feel better, or just to get after them to make, some outrage. We couldn't say, hey, there's a guy in a hoodie. Could have been the first day in, could have been traveling. I remember we were traveling back from Denver to here, and we weren't planning on stopping in Kansas City as long as we did, 4 days at a friend's house. And we went to Old St. Patrick's, and I'm in a polo shirt for mass because we have the whole car packed, and I don't know where my stuff's at. I'm like, not digging through to get a suit out. Just, y'all gonna have to think that your favorite YouTube channel guy has got a purple polo shirt in the back. And
Oh, it's so hard because I had a situation similar where I was staying overnight at a friend's house because of bad weather, and we went to mass the next day. And I had no mass clothes at all, and I had to go to mass in jeans and a t-shirt. And I'm like, everybody here knows who I am. They know that I advocate for wearing dresses and skirts to mass. And I didn't have my veil either. My missal was, because it was like unexpected, and I was like this close to not going to mass, knowing that I was going to be judged and knowing that like my image was not what I portray it to be because of a mistake. And like I'm human. And isn't that so crazy how that would have kept me from mass had I not persevered and been like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Like, I know people are going to judge me. They're going to think that I'm a hypocrite, that I'm this and that, but I'm human. And it's so disheartening to know that I just know for a fact people were judging me instantly. Like I got looks. It was really, really hard to not just like walk out. But that's how a lot of people feel. They feel out of place. And I'm like, you guys have no right to judge in that sense because yes, I do have standards for how people should dress and go to mass. Like obviously, if you do it once, it's your first time, you don't know, that's different. If you're working, if you're like everybody's welcome. But I think if it becomes like a regular thing, you should probably like know by then. But it's like we're human, but also even then it's like how can you tell if it's a regular thing or not? Like how do you know? How do you know that that person's been here multiple times before? Um and it's like maybe they just don't have any guidance. But I know churches like St. John Cantius, they demand like a sense of reverence. And I don't know, maybe it was last year, there was a group of college students that came in to Cantius to sing, and they were Protestant. They weren't Catholic, but they wrote a song and they were going to sing it after mass in honor of Our Lady, which was like really sweet. I was like, oh wow, that's unheard of usually. And it was around Christmas time. And there were a few girls there that had very short dresses on or dresses that were like spaghetti straps or whatever. And they were all sitting up front because, it's like a little choir thing. And almost every single one of the girls got really uncomfortable and started asking the guys for their jackets because they wanted to cover themselves. And I'm like, that's like not to be ashamed, but it's just like, you see the reverence, you see how other people are dressed and you feel out of place. And so, and then they learned, like, the next time they came, they were dressed appropriately. And it's just crazy to see how the space demands the way that somebody dresses. But also it's like, yeah, if you're traveling or something, it's not your fault if you go in, jeans by accident, or if you can't find your clothes, or if, we're just very judgmental these days. And I think that also kind of hinders people wanting to discover Catholicism more, is that we're not as welcoming. And I always say that prayer where it's like, God, I don't know what they need, but you do. I'm just happy that they're here, because we never know what someone's going through. And there's always that term. There's a couple terms. There's like, was it rad trad, mad trad, glad trad, and something else? And
Weird
I'm just
trad.
like,
I'm a weird trad.
there we go. And I'm considered a glad trad because I'm like always happy. And whenever I'm on social media or anything, and I mean, people drag me through the mud, the best way to respond to negativity is not to. That's what I've discovered. I don't respond to negativity usually. I don't block people on Twitter unless like they're, borderline pornographic or pedoph- pedophiles or what, I don't know. And it's interesting to see their reaction, because if I don't give a reaction, so they're just kind of like, well, what do I do now? And the only time I ever respond is like rhetorically or, sarcastically. Somebody told me I was like a fox or something, like, I don't know. And I was like, no, whoever your name is, I am clearly a human. And it's like, those are good ways of, I think, dealing with negativity. And I find it hilarious. But I think feeding into it, people do too often, because we want to defend ourselves. We want to be like, no, we're not like that. And this is why. But it's like, in reality, how are you going to defend yourself to a stranger online? They already have an idea of who you are. It's not probably going to change anytime soon unless you meet them in person, which has happened to me. People have hated me online and then they've met me in person and then they're like, oh, you're pretty cool. And I'm like, thanks, I guess. It's just interesting. It's interesting to see.
Yeah, it's we gotta have more joy. I mean, yeah, we have the smells, the bells, the beauty, the tradition and stuff, which just that is just golden. Now we just have to have ourselves. We gotta have the you've been abused. We can say we've been abused for how long, and especially recently, how many people have got their parishes. Thankfully, I'm in the diocese that hasn't had to happen yet. But yeah, places that they've come down really hard on others and they've had to move out. So it's the joy. Do you have it in you? Like Job, go back to Holy Job. The Lord give it, the Lord take away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. He's a great example for this. My brother he was using a slogan when he was doing these baseball clinics of 3 cheers for joy. And I didn't know where that came from. And then that whole St. Theophane Bernard story comes up, and that bishop of his in Vietnam had that as his motto, 3 cheers for joy. And if you doesn't care, but if you look into the context, all his priests were getting killed, slaughtered.
Wow.
And he still had this motto of 3 cheers for joy. So that Theophane is laying on thought of his deathbed, just sick. And he's laying up there, well, 3 cheers for joy anyways. And so it's another mindset. Do we focus on the ugly, bad, and hideous, or do we look at the good, true, and beautiful and try to proclaim that and live that better? And even online, we can share beautiful photos, and maybe that draws people in instead of, like the hoodie guy blasting. I mean, we don't know anything about it. He was there. Could have been traveling. Could have just been the first time, like you said. But if you would treat him with charity and joy, maybe he comes back and then he figures out, oh, well, let me dress like these guys. It's a friend of mine, my church had a line, obedience to the unenforceable. There's no law, there's no rule telling you how to do X, Y, Z, but you do it anyways, because it's like an unwritten rule in baseball. You don't drop a bunt, a suicide, or you just don't drive a bunt down with 2 outs at the bottom of the ninth to break on top of the ninth to break up a no or a perfect game. You don't do something like that. So You just obey the unenforceable in things, in speech and decorum and how we handle ourselves, to how we talk to each other. And how do we act in mass? Do we say hi to somebody that looks like they're out of place? That maybe the first time, and introduce yourself? And or do we be like, no, that's just not trad? And trads don't even know what trad is.
Yeah. It's so interesting. And also, I was so afraid that hoodie guy might see that, and by some way feel ashamed or embarrassed and not want to go back. And, that's the damage that it can really cause, is that division. And anything that causes division, I feel like we really need to think twice before we post it. And there is nothing wrong. Also, I think a lot of people need to understand this. There is nothing wrong with learning, growing, and changing your mind and deleting a tweet and realizing like that tweet wasn't appropriate. And I grew and I prayed about it. And I realized, that wasn't of God. And that was for my own selfish needs because I wanted attention, or I wanted to start drama, or who knows. But I remember a lot of people asked her to delete it, and she still kept it up after multiple people told her like, hey, this isn't, okay. And it comes from a sense of pride. I think it really comes down to that, where people tell us to stop doing something, so we want to do it even more. And it kind of just reinforces that behavior. And it's so hard, but we really need to look internally and be like, how am I living out the gospels in my life? Am I somebody that, someone would want to come to learn about Jesus? Am I somebody who radiates Jesus? And it can be very difficult to do that, especially in today's world. But I think it's more important than, throwing out a tweet that could potentially harm somebody or keep people from coming to the church.
Yeah. I mean, what terrifies me is some guy named Jesus, he said that every idle word would be held against us. Going, that includes tweets. But there was a couple of sermons I remember hearing, and the priest would talk about, I think it was mostly Byzantine guys. Do you hear the gospel? Yeah, Father Abernathy talks about that. When you hear the gospel, afterwards, blessed be the name of the Lord, and you should be crying afterwards. He was saying, because that's messages towards us to relive or how we're supposed to live, and we're just like, yeah, happy to. If you think about this, we should be terrified beyond not terrified that we can't shake in our boots, but St. Paul says, fear and trembling we gotta live. And you hear the lesson. There's like 5 weeks in the TLM about the epistles of St. Paul when he's talking about charity. And look at our boys online. Is do we emanate the charity from that? I mean, you go on Sunday, but the rest of the week, do we act what we just heard that we want? We want that. We want Atlanta. We want this chant. Well, if you don't live it, who cares if it's in German, Hebrew, what's Martian, whatever? It doesn't matter. So we got to live that part. That's one of the things. Like, we got to be able to, like the Holy Father. We get the leaders we deserve. No one likes hearing that, because that puts on us. So how do we do that? Well, we have to change to be better. We want more trad mass. All right, you be a walking St. Philip Neri. You be another walking whatever. Just try to become with St. Pio. Someone's trying to grab his cassock and say, make your own relic. We don't really. We want it, but we don't want it. It's kind of. I usually say stuff like. Most of us never played ball before, because if you want to get on a team, you can do every darn thing you can do to get on it. Eat right, work out right, practice right. The asceticism, exercise. It's one priest talked about it, goes like, we'll stay up all night studying, cramming for an exam in college. Do you do that for praying at night? Probably not. We don't. None of us. It's hard to do. But it's just, where's our heart at? Where's our will? Yeah, we want the mass, we want this. So how do we become so that we deserve these goods from heaven, and that we get more leaders that we deserve, that we want, and then we grow in all this. But I mean, we're in a time, and I was on a text group they were complaining about something, and I sent them the Ghostbusters scene from when was it I forget who's Bill Murray's character. He goes, I love the idea. I love this plan. I'm glad to be part of it. I mean, have that mindset for right now. Yes, it sucks out there, but he put you at this situation at this time, knowing it was going to be like this, not like it surprised him. Like, oh, wow, I didn't know this was going to go this way. And we're all here at this time. We should be happy. Like, wow, he thought we were good enough to last at this. So what do? We got to be better about it. We got to take that advantage. We got to take that and work it to our advantage to bring joy, bring that. You mentioned the Rona. smile because people are like, "What's wrong with you? Why aren't you scared?" Well, I'm not terrified. Or I mentioned before, if a nuke landed on us, should be okay, cool. As long as you're in a state of grace, come out of confession, you living a good life. I don't care, drop the nuke on me. We're good. Hopefully we know we're good, but if you should know.
Hopefully.
It's not very good.
I mean, memento mori, that's such a big part of being Catholic. It's like we're mortal. We know that we're going to die one day. And so having this fear of death, I feel like is arbitrary. As long as we know we're in the state of grace, as long as we know that we're doing what we can and building up our treasures in heaven through good works, but also through working out our salvation every day, going to confession, receiving the sacraments. I mean, we shouldn't be worried. If we're doing the proper things to our state in life, we're doing what we're called to do right now from God, we should have no worries about death. In fact, we should look forward to the second coming, because that's when we will be truly united with God even closer than we are right now. And during the second coming, I mean, God's going to bestow so many amazing graces upon those of, those who are loyal to him. And I think it's something interesting when St. Therese of Lisieux said that she wishes she was alive, and she envied those who were going to be alive during the second coming because she wanted that closeness and she wanted to suffer with them. And so it's interesting to think about. And I just think about it and I'm just like, we need more joy. We need more smiles. I hardly ever see smiles in church. And something that I often see is this has been going on since before COVID, but a lot of people will give side eyes to parents with kids because the kids, they're kids. They're going to, if your church isn't crying, it's dying. Okay. But I will always make it a point to go up to those parents, smile, and say, you have beautiful children. You're doing a great job. Even if they're not doing a great job, because honestly, sometimes parents are really tired and sometimes those kids just had a bad day. They didn't want to eat breakfast. Now they're moody. They didn't have their nap, whatever. But they need to be in that church because that is so important. And we shouldn't ostracize people with horrible looks, even if that kid is really annoying. I mean, there was one kid that was beating his sister up literally in front of me, and I had to tap him on the shoulder and be like, no, knock it off. And he did. He was just like,
work the cross.
Yep. And I felt bad, but their parents weren't there. I think their parents were in the confession line or something. And I felt bad because I don't feel comfortable disciplining other kids' kids, even though it wasn't disciplining. I just told them to knock it off. But it's still weird because I'm like, before it used to take a community to raise kids, but now it's like, if you touch another person's kid, that's bad. You can't, it's so odd, but I had to because he was beating up his older sister and she just took it. And I was just like, okay, this is consecration. Y'all should be kneeling, but kids need those
I remember someone corrected me at Mass before. It wasn't my parents too. And now I still remember it to this day, how it was, where I was, what I was doing. And I'm glad he did it. And it's Gowron J writes about singing in Mass too. You had to belt out, especially after Advent, the glory. He writes in that for Christmas, glory in Chelsea's Deo, sing it. And I think it was for Easter, he's talking about the walls should be shaking with our Alleluia. Yeah, most people don't want to sing. My kids sing. I made sure I started doing it so that they would see it and they try to emulate. So especially at the end, they'll start singing the Salve, both of them, and people are usually looking around like, what is that? It's a little 5-year-old and a 3-year-old singing the Salve Regina.
Oh.
What if more of us start doing that? And I remember when another priest did a sermon, talked about how he misses hearing people sing, just random sing. I mean, you don't have to sing Tupac or anything. Just sing something good and true, good, just around. I mean, I got a weird, my wife goes, you just weird. There's something wrong with your head. Because I'll just start randomly singing songs, mostly pop from the 80s, 90s, whatever.
It's good stuff. ABBA, yeah.
Or if some friend of mine runs Catholic printing press called me, I was at the gym, and I'm back in my mind going, I wonder what she's thinking about the songs in the background. She can hear. I know they can hear that. But yeah, we I just wanted to roll up to the parish back in Denver, blasting Run DMC. It's tricky. It's just
they're gonna be like,
but it's kind of like, guys, let's make some fun, be light of our situation, have some fun with ourselves. joke,
true.
laugh. Non-sourpuss saints of Saint Teresa brought up. Saint Philip Neri was just a comic. You read the Fools. You ever heard of the Fools for Christ? They're Eastern guys. They did some wackadoo things, but I mean, don't go all the board all the way like this. But they did some wackadoo things to humiliate themselves and laugh at themselves just to show everybody the love for Christ. They brought people in. Again,
Wow.
don't try this at home, but you can read about it. And, there's a lot of joy that we just eliminate for this. It's easy to complain. Sometimes it's hard to smile. I guess we want to, even like sports. I know we came from a sports family. I still love playing it. Still love watching it. I haven't watched in a while just because the kids sometimes just forget about it, but everyone just trashes on, dunks on you if you watch a game or anything like this. Oh yeah, don't watch this part, but enjoy the spirit of the game. You can learn a lot in the spiritual life from sports life and things like that. But no, you can't be trad and watch a baseball game or anything. That's you're not that. It's
crazy.
It's chill out time.
It's just
pick
like,
up the gospel every day, read that every day, pray every day, pray, hope, don't worry, put a smile on your face, make the world a better place.
I love that. It's so true. And I guess that's a great way to end this live stream. I mean, it's just, I know I love these discussions because we talk about anything and everything in between. And, you shed so much light on so many topics, and I'm sure everyone really enjoyed it. So thank you so much, Steve, for coming on and discussing these things. I really had a great time.
I appreciate you having me on. No problem.
Absolutely. And just for the viewers and stuff, where can they find you? Anything you want to promote just before we hop off?
SensusFidelium.com is the main website. I had a friend do a lot of work on that. You can go every day. If you make that your homepage, I make sure I have the daily sermons on the homepage every day. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you'll get the saint of the days. And if there's a liturgy of the day, I think I can put 25 up. Usually I have more than 25. Like today I had 60. So in the playlist, you can go into playlist on the YouTube channel, and there's all there, numerical order. Sensus Fidelium Press is the press company page. I'm sure I'll come up with some new company in the next couple months or something like this. I call it the SF Universe. Trying to be a better version of Marvel. But yeah, that's it right now. SensusFidelium.com and SensusFideliumPress.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Of course. And with all of that being said, guys, thank you so much for coming on here. Really quick, if you guys want some quality Catholic jewelry, you can go to immaculatebless.com, or you can use my affiliate link in the description below for 15% off plus free shipping in the US. And I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Have a great day, guys. God bless.